All right, so for today's class, please somebody should mute. There's noise at the background. All right, so this will be.
Please, can you hear me, please?
We can all hear you and hear you.
Okay, please, I am in a vehicle and a lot of things are happening here, so I'll just try to follow the class.
Yeah, you can mute the mic. Yeah, so that. All right, so this is what we'll be looking at today. We started last week. We did a bit of introduction to JavaScript, and we did variables. We did data types, and I don't know if we have any questions. Asuka, do you have a question? I think you were asking something last week. There was something that was a bit confusing. Is it clear now?
Yes, it's clear. But while I was practicing, the name convention, I don't know. There was this. Okay, because from the example you gave us last week, your names were kind of in a certain way. Like the first letter was the first letter of your naming, like the sentence was in a lowercase, then like the second word and the third words were upper cases. And then when I was trying to name my variables, and I had more than 3 words in the naming, getting that particular pattern was not there, and the name, because of that, it wasn't working. So
okay.
I had to reduce.
Can you see my screen now?
Yes.
Okay, see line 3. This 3, this norm, off, and students. You mean something like this, right?
I come off. Just line 3.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes.
I have 3 words: number, I have off, and I have students. So the first one is a small letter. You start your naming with small letters. Then if you have more than 1 word, the next word joins together. The first letter of the next word will be a capital letter, just like that. You have 3 words. The first letter of each new word will be capital letter. That's just the rest of it.
Okay. So it's just the first letter of the first word that will be in small letter.
The first letter of the first letter of the second word. Say your naming is more than a word. Like in this case, I have 3 words here. The very first name is this name, which is a small letter. I have name, I have off, I have this STD stands for students. So this one small letter, this cap, and this one cap. Or this F is a small letter, as you can see.
So if we have more than this number we have here, the next word, the first letter would be in capital letter too.
Exactly. It's like camel case, small letter, just like that. It's called camel case.
Okay.
Camel case, like this camel case. Camel and case are 2 words. Camel case, you want to go name, you want to go students, just like that. Follow that sequence.
All right.
So having done that, there are some things I just want us to touch based on. This is what we'll be looking at. Our focus will be in the next couple of weeks. This is just part 1 of it. JavaScript is broad. Try and cover as much as we can. Okay, one thing I would like us to cover is we did data types last week. But another thing I think we didn't do was trying to specify converting from one data type to the other, especially between strings and numbers. Okay, for example, if I say under line 8, if I say let z equal this, Now, this variable I define is not a number, it's a string. How are strings expressed? Each time you see anything in double quotes, single quotes, or backticks, I'll show you what backticks is. I've expressed that one in single quotes. I can also express string in double quotes. Sorry. Strings can also be expressed in double quotes. So strings can also be expressed in double quotes, like happy. And it can also be expressed in backticks. Backtick is if you check your keyboard to your left, after one to your left, there is a button just before just before one, the one button. You will see a button that has something like, it has two symbols. The backtick is this one, the first one. If you press Ctrl, you get the other symbol, but what we're looking for is the backtick. Once you click on it, just the button before the number one button on your keyboard. It's called the backtick button. So these three buttons are used to define strings. So what JavaScript does, anything that is written, these three symbols, anything that is written in double quotes, in single quotes, double quotes, or in backticks, JavaScript automatically picks it up as a string. So, which means this one I wrote here, even if it's a number, it's a string because it's inside a quotes. And now it's inside the quotes. So those are the things I want us to take notes while dealing with JavaScript and numbers. The idea why we are taking our time to do this is so that when you start operations and you start getting error, a common error will be, for example, let me do one. I say, let z equal to 5, and I now say, let's p equal to. If I come down here and I say, let's say b equal z plus 2. Now let's console log this b and see what we get. You know the reason why we use console log. For now, we are not displayed on your browser. For now, we'll get to that, but for now, we're using console log to see what we do in JavaScript. So we can use so let's console log this b and see what we get here. We go live. So if I console log, what I did was that I declared this as a string, I declared this as a number, then I decided to add them together. Let's see what we get. Ideally, if you do addition, you're supposed to get 5 plus 2 is supposed to be 7. But let's see what we get with this, with what just happened. As you can predict. Okay. Okay. So you see what I got here? I got 52. Now, what JavaScript is doing behind the scene is this. Instead of adding these numbers, instead of adding these as numbers, it's rather doing this. It's doing something like taking 5 and concatenating it. We call it concatenation. When you add two things together, that you're not, when you join two things together, the way you join a string naturally. Like if I come here, you know what I'm doing, I can also do it on this console. Remember, I said you can also work on the console with JavaScript. If I come here and I see something like, okay, this is a string, and I say hello plus word, hello plus word. Now JavaScript has joined it together, giving me hello world. See, it's concatenating it together, it's bringing them together. So it's treating this, my operation here, as what? As this. It's treating them as string. They're not numbers, it's bringing them together. Why this is important is because you'll be doing so many operations sometimes what you expect might not be the result you get. You have to go back and check your variable declarations. So you join numbers to numbers, you don't join numbers to string. If there's any reason for you to want to join numbers to string, maybe you intentionally want to do that so that you know what you want to achieve in JavaScript. But another thing that I also would like to talk about, is there any question on this? What we just did now? Throwing an error when we join number and string, noting that this thing here is not a number. Why? Because it is written inside a quotes, inside quotes. So now if I go ahead and do something, okay, Felix, you have a question. Go ahead.
Okay. The hello word that you just type on the console now, they were
Okay.
joined together. There's no space between them. So how do we put space between them?
Okay. You can put space between them. Just put plus and put an empty space. As an empty space. Let me say I do something like hello world, hello plus. See, I'm putting an empty between them. Plus this plus world. Okay. So this is an empty string. So it's putting an empty string. It's concatenating these three things together. Hello, empty space, and word. Exactly.
Yes, it's clear.
Okay. All right. So let me continue. All right. So another thing I want to point out is now we've done this. There should be a method in JavaScript that helps you to check if something is a string, a number, or a boolean, which is one of the things we didn't do last week. It's called the type of. Let's say I've written this thing here, and I just want to confirm if JavaScript is recognizing it as a string or a number. There is this type of here. Let me just console log it. So I'll be seeing what we do. So I now go ahead and I say, okay, let me find out what data type is this Z that I just assigned. I say type of Z. Type of Z. See, this is on line 12. This is my script.js. Script.js on line 12. See, this is my line 12 for my script.js. So this is this console. Why this one on line 19? This one you're seeing below here on line 19. So you're already knowing how to debug. Debug means troubleshoot. So if you need to troubleshoot it, it's you everything. So this is a string. It's recognized as a string. But once I remove this single quote, see what changes. It becomes a number. Once I remove the single quote, it's now a number. So take notes, anything inside of a quote, even if it's a number inside of a quote, anything inside of a quote is taken in JavaScript as a string. It's taken in JavaScript as a string. Naturally, false is a boolean, but the type of is a boolean, but because it's inside the string, it's written it as inside the quote as a string. But once I remove this quote and come here, type of, it will give me a boolean. Remember, we did data types, we did number, we did strings, we did boolean, we did null, undefined, array, and object. So another way you can find out the type of data type is by using the type of method. Just say type of and put it. It will give you the type. In case you're confused and you want to know, maybe you've done something and you're expecting a different result, you're having a different result. You can go ahead and troubleshoot it and say, okay, type of. Let me see if I'm joining the same data types. The same data type. Just as in mathematics, you can't say x plus 1 equal to 2. X is an alphabet, 1 is a number. The same principle applies here. Okay. So I haven't done that. I would like to now also look into conversion. There are ways in which you can convert between a number and a string. Let's say you declare this 5 as a string initially, and along the line you want to change it into a number. There are different ways you can do this. One of the ways you can do this is going by this. Let me declare another variable and call it another variable. Let me say this variable is, okay, I'll use Z. Let me just use A and stuff. So let me say let A equal to this my Z that is a string, but this time around, I want to now convert it into a number. There are two ways I can convert it into a number. I can just put plus in front of the variable, plus Z. Plus in front of the variable. Now let's see type of A. Let's go do console log type of A and see what we will get. So if I console log type of A, you now see that it becomes a number in the second space. This is script.js. This is my script.js line 15. So A now is not a number, but on line 14 it was a string. So this is one method in which you can use in converting between number and a string. Another method is placing number in front of it. Placing number in front of it. Yes. Placing number in front of it. I've declared this here, and I come here and I say I come and I say, okay, that was my Z, and I put Z here. Sorry, if we join back on the time elapses. Then I put number. So once I call it number, automatically it becomes a number. It becomes a number. You see, it's not a number. So those are the two ways. Either you use the plus symbol in front of it, or you use this C in front of it. So any of them, you see, once I added plus in front of this quote, it also became a number. So this is how you convert from a string to a number. Let's say you might be wondering why would I have to do this? Why don't I just declare a number? I will show you where this is applicable now. So let's do something briefly. I know we talked about alerts. We all know what alert does. It pops up a window for us on our screen. The another one I want us to look at is prompts. Let's say you want to ask your user a question and you want them to enter a number that you use for something later. For example, this is prompt, and I say, how old are you? It's already giving me something. Prompt interacts with how old are you? I say, how old are you? Now, prompt is, I'm asking a question, how old are you? I expect a number. Okay, sorry, I say let B. Let D equals how old are you? Now, how old are you? If I enter something here, say I enter 5 and I click OK. What I did was that I prompted the user to tell me how old they are, and I stored it in a variable called D. Now, if I want to check the type of this D variable, now, remember I stored something in that D variable. I stored this prompt. I collected this value. It gives me a space to enter, but I collected it and I stored it in the D variable. That is what I did here. Now, if I want to check the type of this D variable, let's see what we'll get. Let me enter it again and say 4. The type of the D variable. So let me remove that. If you run again, so I enter 4. See, on line 19, the D variable is a string, but I entered the number. Why? Because inputs in JavaScript, inputs are collected as strings. Every input is collected as a string. So if you need to use this D variable to do another arithmetic, let's say this D variable that I collected, I want to do something with it. Let's say I want to add it to something. I say I collected the person's age, and I want to add 10 to the person's age. Let's say I now say okay, console log. I now say I've collected the person's age in D, remember, and I now want to console log it. I want to do that D that I collected plus 10. Maybe they gave me an assignment to increase every age I collect by 10. and I want to do that. Remember, this is T on line 19. Let's go ahead and see what we get. Maybe the person is 20 years old. Expectedly, this is supposed to give us 30, which is 20 plus 10. But let's see what it gives us. Okay, so let me go 20. We'll see what it's giving me. It's giving me 2010. So it's concatenating it as a string. It's collecting the D here and adding 10 to it as if I'm trying to join two words together. Why? Because as I said, this D is a string. But in order for this to work, we now have to convert this D to a number, either by adding a plus in front of it, and to go again and do this, we now get 30, what we actually intended to get. Either you do it this way, adding a plus just close to D, or you can do it like this, using the number we just talked about. Say, okay, after collecting the number D, I can do everything. After collecting number D, I say, okay, so I don't want you to clean it. Sorry. Okay, so where did I convert it? Okay, let me use it. After collecting the number D, collected it here, converted it to a number, then I still want to come over here. Okay. So you can wrap an operation inside another operation. And JavaScript understand what you want to do. So I've done that and I say plus 10. So what it will first do is to run the conversion, turn it into a number, then add it to 10. Add it to 10. Okay, so I add, maybe the person's age is 10. So you can see it's now 20. But on line 19, it was a string. When it got to this line, converted it to a number and I added it to 10 to make it 20. So it's called type conversion. You can use this way to convert between a number and a string. And this is where it is applicable, because you'll be working with situations where users need to enter a variable and you collect it back and do something with it. Most times whenever a value is collected with JavaScript, it's collected as a string. It is now your job to convert it to a number and use it to do an operation. You can also convert from a number to a string. All you need to do is to wrap it in quotes and it's converted to a string. So is that clear?
Yes, it's clear.
Okay. All right. So if that is clear, I will proceed. Okay, we've done data types. Let me just go ahead and see. Done the data types. Done. Okay. Okay, another thing I think we've touched it a bit. I will just go into it in depth now. Is operators, operators in JavaScript. Those as we have in mathematics, we have different operators. We have the plus, we have the plus operator, we have the minus operator, we have the division operator, we have the multiplication operator, we have the exponential operator. Exponential operator, this is the exponential operator. We have, okay, I've done, okay, like this. Sorry, I'm using, but it's just slash, that's the division operator. We also have, these are all binary operators. As you know, the word binary, they work with either two numbers, binary operators. We also have other types of operators. Now, another operator that I know is not too popular with us, it's called the reminder operator. The reminder operator. For those of us who did math very well, we saw it, but for those who, so the reminder operator, what it does is it returns the reminder of the division of two numbers. So if I do, it's called reminder, it's called module, just as you call plus minus sign, it's called module. So if I do 4 module 2, I'm expected to get 0 as an answer. I'm expected to get 0 because what I'm saying is that give me the remainder of the division of 4 and 2. So let's go ahead and show it. Let's stop this promise. Okay, so this time will soon break. Once it breaks, just comment. You have less than 1 minute. Okay, so let me quickly demonstrate this. I have 4. I have 4 module 2. 4 module 2. The answer is 0, as you can see. So it returns the remainder of a division. It returns the remainder of a division. It's the only one that I know who might not be too conversant with, but the others, they do the same way it applies in mathematics, that's the same way it applies here. The only rule is in JavaScript, I've told you, don't join the string and if you need to join the string and the number, you know what to do. But if that was not your intention, you convert the string first. We are just going through them now so we can see what they do, and when we start using them for operations, you understand the same thing goes with the less than, does the same thing. If I change this to less than, of course it will return false, telling me that 20 is not less than, is not less than 9. 20 is not less than 9. Let's see, I'll assign another value here called B. Let's see this. Okay. I go ahead and console here. Okay. So now I have true and false, which is correct. So that is compulsory operator. Now another one we're looking at is the equality operator. As the name implies, it is used to check equality. Now we have 2 types of equality when it comes to JavaScript. We have the equality that just checks the value of the number without checking the type of the number. We have the one that checks the value and doesn't check the type. As displayed here, we have equality. We have this, it says, is the right hand side equal to the left hand side? This one says, is the right hand side strictly equal to the left hand side? We do a demonstration, you understand what it means. While we have another one, the same thing applies. This one is not equal, and this one is strictly not equal. So I haven't seen this. Let me now demonstrate how they work. Okay, so this is it. I want to say, let's see equal, let's see equal 20. Let's see equal 20. Now, I'm comparing the string and the number here. I'm saying that are these things the same value? Is this 20 that is string equal to this 20 that is a number? Now it will return true. Even if we know that they are not equal, they are not strictly equal. They are equal in value, but they're not equal in type. So if I console log this, it will return true for me. If I console log this, it returns true. So it's returning true for me, which is line 72. It's returning true, which is line 72. It's not returning true. Why? Because it's only comparing the values. It's not comparing the type. Because the type of here is a string, the type of here is a number. This is called equal. But for strictly equal, will it return false? Because they're not strictly equal. The 20 on the left hand side is a string, while the 20 on the right hand side is a number. So they are not strictly equal. Do you understand it? So that is how equal and strictly equal works. One is a 3 equal to sign, and the other one is two double equal sign. Double equal and triple equal signs. So if I duplicate this, do the same thing here for G. So console log D should return false, while C should return true. You can see C returns true, D returns false because of this sign. This can only be true if there is no string. It means that the value on the right hand side is equal to the value on the left hand side, and the type of data is still equal. So it also checks type for you when comparing the values together. So the same way we have for not for equal, we still have for not. Still have for not, and we indicate not using this exclamation sign, using an exclamation sign in front of our equality. This is the backtick. You can see my keyboard. This is the backticks. This sign is the backticks I was talking about, close to your your button one. This is the backticks. Okay, so this can be used in this format the same way we're using it before. I have it now. I have this CDB. Okay, so I want to say 20. Okay, now the 20 on my left is on line 72. On line 72. Okay, on line 72, the 20 on my left, I'm saying that they are not equal, and it's saying no, they are equal. So it's returning false for me. Because what I'm trying to say is that this 20 is not equal to this 20. This sign means negative, is opposite of this. This shows that they are equal, line 70, this shows that they are not equal. So what JavaScript returns is a no. Why? Because it's saying that they are equal. They are equal. But if I do the same thing on this line, it will return a true, because it's agreeing that they are not equal, because they are not both equal in strength and in value. So we have equal, we have not equal, we have strictly equal, and we have strictly not equal for equality operators. Any questions?
Don't have any question.
Okay. So when comparing values, why we go through these fundamentals is so that when you're solving issues and you start encountering challenges, you know your problem is coming from. Imagine that you are trying to compare two figures together, and you now use this equal instead of the strictly equal. You are trying to say, okay, for instance, the prompts that we're doing, the user has entered their age. I want to now check if this age that the user entered is this number, do this. We'll do it shortly, and you understand, you see where we apply this thing. So you now see that it will give you conflicting results if you're not sure of the kind of equality that you will be using. All right. So let's move. Thank God you're understanding, and it can help us to move faster. Okay, another thing I want us to look at is conditionals. Is your loops, how to work with loops in JavaScript. A very important aspect of JavaScript that we have to work. Looping in JavaScript. How to loop and how to work with loops. For now, there are several types of loops. So I want us to look at three now. Look at others as we proceed, because others are most likely related to the particular data types. Are mostly related to particular data types. So the first loop that we'll be looking at now is called the for loop. So we'll be looking at loops, and I will go back to my display here. The first loop I want us to look at is the for loop. Now this is how the for loop, this is the syntax of the for loop. Every loop has three, do I call them values or variables that we work with. The first one is the initial variable. The second one is the condition that must be satisfied. for you to remain in the loop. Why? The next one is the final variable. Now, what the loop does is, let's say I gave an assignment. I say console log 1 to 10 for me. Naturally, this is what you will do. You come here and console log 1, or let me say 1 to 5. Console log 5, 2, console log 3, console log 4, and you console log 5. All right. So you've done these 5 console logs, fine. And you can see them here working well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You have 5 console logs. Now, what if I tell you to console log 1 million or 1,000? So imagine the stress of typing this console log into 1 million places. Imagine the stress of doing this. That is where loops come in. Loops, the idea, the reason why we are software developers, because we want to find an easy way of making things work. We want to find an easy way of making things work. So what your loop does for you is this. Your loop runs anything you want to do, the number of times that you specify it to run. It runs whatever you want to run this, the number of times you specify it to run. For example, in each of the loop, 3 things will be satisfied. The first one is the initial value. Second one is the condition, and the next one, the last one is the final value. Please take notes. For every circle of the loop that is run, as the name implies, loop is like circle. For every circle that is run, if you want to start running, it will assign an initial value to any variable. It will check the condition, check if the variable fulfills the condition. If true, if the condition is true, then it will now run and execute this command. After it executes a command, it will now add a final value to that variable. Let's say you want it to not add a final value, it will not return the final value to that variable for the first time. It will not go again for the second time. Continue this whole process. It will first of all set the final value, check the condition. It will now run your code and set your final value. Sorry, set initial value, check your condition, run your code, and check your final value. So these 4 things will always be done each time your loop runs. Let's practicalize it. Let's start with the for loop. This thing we did here, let's now use the for loop to simplify it and make it work. This is the syntax of the for loop. All right, for loop. Hold on, I'm trying to choose one. Okay, so this is the syntax of the for loop. The first thing is your initial value. In this case, your initial value in this case is 1 because you started from 1. The first value is 1. My initial value is 1. The next value is, let the variable, let x equal to 1. The next thing is the condition. The condition is now displayed using you remember we did comparison operators. I can now say x less than 6 because it's displayed 5 times. So for x less than 6, now this is my final value. Each time it runs, what I'm saying is that add 1 to that x that ran. I will explain this. So inside here, this is the code I want to be displayed. I want to run. And I say console log X for me. Now what this will do is, the first time it wants to run, please follow me, let me explain. The first time it wants to run, it will set X as 1. Then it will check if this one is less than 6. No, it's not less than 6, which means this thing is true. It's one is less than 6 is true. So because it's true, it will now continue and do what you've instructed it to do. After doing what it's instructed it to do, remember that in this case, S is 1. It will now go back to this place and add 1 to X as the final value, which I said here, initial value, the condition, and the final value of a variable for each circle. On every iteration of each circle, it will do this process again. So for this first time, it's setting X to be 1. It checks the condition. If condition is true, it will come down and run this code. After running the code, it will now reset S, because S now has a new value, which is, after resetting it, it will now add a number to X. So this X now, you remember it's 1, it will now add 1 to what it was before. So if it's coming back to run it the next time, X here will now become 2. X now becomes 2 because after it ran this, it reset X and added 1 to the initial value of X. So in this, the second time it's running, X is now 2. It will now do the same thing, compare, run this code, add 1 again to X. But see what it does. Before adding to X, it will first display X, because you don't want it to add before displaying. It will first display the X, then add 1 to it, and go back to assembly. So if we do this, it will give us the same results that we had there, which is this here. It will return the same results. Okay, so this is what we had. So of this and on this. Okay. Okay, so you see, it's giving us the same thing. So for the first time it's running, it's setting X as 1. After setting this as 1 as the initial value, it checks if X is less than 6, which is true. It now comes down here and runs this code. And what we are saying, it should do this. We are just saying, just console log that the value of X. After console log the value of X, it will now add 1 to X. That loop is done. So now run again. X this time around is now 2. Remember, it will now check, is it less than 6? Yes, display it. It will now display it. Go back to this. After displaying it, it will now add 1 again. Go back and do the same thing until it gets to a point where X is less than 6. It stops running. So if we come down here and say, even if we want X to display, 1 to 5. So if we want it to display 1 to 4, which means this has to be 5. It will now display 1 to 4. 1 to 4. Just like that. So we are saying for X less than this, do this. Is the for loop clear, please? Is the for loop clear?
Yes, it's clear, but I have a question to ask.
All right, go ahead.
Okay, that the X, you say let X be equal to 1.
Yeah.
Is it possible to declare it outside, then use it inside the bracket?
For for loop, you declare it inside the bracket. There are other loops that you can declare it outside.
Okay.
For loop, you declare
Thank you.
inside.
Okay.
Which we'll also be looking at now. Suka, are you clear with this?
Thank you.
Hello? So are you still with us? Okay. I can't hear you. I don't know if you're still speaking. All right. So having done this,
I'm sorry
okay,
about that.
you are clear
I'm
with me?
clear.
All right. Now
Yeah.
another loop I want us to look at is the while loop. We've done the for loop, and let's go ahead and do the while loop, the for loop. So we'll now be looking at the while loop. They all work with the same principle, but placed. Look at the question that was asked now by Felix. While loop. Now this while loop has its own syntax like this. Let me on this screen. You see the while loop. Remember in the for loop, we had everything inside that bracket, but in the while loop, you declare the initial variable outside the while. Then you now say while, the condition, the code that is to be executed, and the final value. That is how the while loop works. It declares the initial value, checks the condition, runs the code, and now sets the final value. Declares an initial value, checks the condition, runs the code, and now sets the final value. That is how the while loop works. Let's go ahead and write it out here. So we can say, in this case, instead of writing this our let inside here, we say let, the let is the initial, the x1 is the initial value of x. So let x equal to this, we declare this here. Then you now go ahead and write your while loop. While, so this is the condition. See, VS Code even gave us everything. So I will say, we now say while x, y x is less than 5, run this code. The code to run is console log this for us. Console log this. Let's say y(x) is less than 10. Console log this for us. After console logging this, we set the value of x. Suka, I want to ask you a question. How else can we write this line 98? What is another way of writing it?
Okay. X plus plus.
That's fine.
That'll be X. Yeah.
Yeah, x plus plus. So I can go ahead and write this as x plus plus. I can do the same thing here. So it's the same, this and this are the same thing. All right. So this is how the while loop works, different from the for loop, but the same principle, the same idea. So let's see what we get from here. So this is what we get. Okay. Console, right? Console. So this is for the one up, the for loop, and the one, and this the while loop starts here. You can see on line 97. On line 97, starts on line 97, which is what we have at line 97. So you display the number from 1 to less than 10. So this is how the while loop works. The last loop we'll be looking at is the do while loop. The do while loop. Do while, do while. Okay. So let's go ahead and check out the do while loop. Okay. The same principle, but this time around, those three variables are arranged separately. This one too also define the initial variable. We do what is inside here. We run this code, setting the final value before declaring the condition outside. That is the do while loop. Do while loop. So let me go ahead and write. So we go again like this. This time around, let me change the initial value of x to 0. So it starts from 0. Starts from 0. Okay, this will not work again because, okay, let me change this to y. Okay, while y is equal to 0, I say do this. Okay, I say do this. What I want it to do is run this code block. Anything inside this curly brace is called a block. You want it to run this block inside this curly brace. So while this is going to run the code inside of this block, and the condition is that the condition in this case is this, and say less than 100. That's the beauty of JavaScript. So of course, looking 1, 2, 3 to 100 gives us this. You can see an undefined variable. So you see, another thing I want us to also have in mind. You see what it's doing here. It's throwing an error for me, telling me that uncut error x is not defined. So you see this debugging tool. This is a very strong debugging tool. I now know that there's an error on line 106. So if I come to line 106, I'm supposed to console log y, not x. So it's telling me that x is not defined. So I come here to, I change this to y, and it solves the problem. Unexpected token. That's it. Wow.
So you've not changed the X on line 107.
Oh, okay. Okay, so you see, it's giving me from 1 to 99. So these are the 3 loops that we've considered for now. We'll also look at other loops, but at least you have an idea of how loops work and what they do. We've done the for loop, the while loop, and the do while loop. All right. So lastly for today, I would like us to look at conditionals. The conditionals are simply statements or code blocks that helps you execute a code if a condition is satisfied. Let's say I want to do this if this is satisfied, and I want to do this if this is false. Now, the one statement used in writing conditionals is the if statement or the if else statement. I'm saying that if this is this, go ahead and do this. Let me open the slide. If this is this, I'm saying, okay, go ahead and implement this. In this case, the if statement, it's a condition. If a condition is true, do something. If false, do something else. If else. Now I'm saying that if this condition is satisfied, execute this code inside here. Else, if it's not satisfied, please run another code for me. If you're doing this, it means that only one code block will be run per time, depending on the answer you get, because you cannot have a true false answer. So even if you wrote 2 statements to be done here, it will only implement the one code block. So this is what the do while. This is how the do while statements work. The conditional if statement is used to create conditionals. And let's just demonstrate how that works quickly. So we'll go with if. Okay. Now, what I'm saying is that so long as this condition exists, if you have this condition existing, please do this. If not, do something else. Okay, we'll combine it with our prompt and see what we get now. Get something very interesting. Remember when we did prompt and we have to. All right, we're looking at conditionals, and wanted to do something like this. Okay, so this is my if else block. call it if else block. Okay, let me start with this. Say if y is less than 100, I want you to console log something for me. Console log y. But if y else, which means if it is not less than 100, do something else for me. Say something like, say the number is too large. Okay, the number is too large. So let's go ahead and declare our y here. Initially, what we want to start, our y is 0. So let's see what we'll get. So I said it should just display the number for me. It says 100, so it displays 0. So what it does is that it checks the condition. If the condition is true, it goes ahead and runs this first block. If it's false, it runs the next block. So if I increase this my number to 200, says the number is too large, which means it is false. So it will skip this block and display this block. Skip this block and display this block. Is it clear, please?
Yes.
Yes, it's clear.
All right. So let's go ahead and play with this if else statement. Say like the prompt we were using before, I want a situation where a user will enter and will determine if what will be displayed if the user entered. For instance, let's say this happens and we'll say, remember we are saving our variable as y here. I want to say if the user entered a number that is, if the number the user entered is greater than 0, it's greater than okay, it's greater than this. But before we do that, we need to change this to a number so that I can compare it and compare the both of them using either writing this in a bracket number or doing this way, but however I want to do it. If I go ahead and say, I'm saying how old are you, and I'm not done with my, I say if the person is less than 18, console log still 18. Else the person is not wow. Okay. So let me go ahead and enter, say 21. Okay. Sorry, to run that first code before I change it. Let's run it again. An adult you are. So this if statement helps you to display different things depending on either what you receive or what you want to give out. So if I remove this plus and let's see what we get. I enter 21. Enter. If I remove that plus, I enter 21. Let's see what we get. 21. An adult you are. So what it does is, oh sorry. Okay, sorry. I want to say something. Let me enter 7. Okay. You see the equality, the comparison symbol still works, even if it receives in a string from here. But if I were to use strictly equal, I would say that if y is equal to 18, I say you are 18 years old. You are 18. This, if it's equal to 18, you should do this. And if it's okay. Now let's go ahead and run this code and see. We look at it together. I entered 18. Expectedly it's supposed to show me this. But it will not show me that. It show me an adult you are. Why? Because they are not strictly equal. Remember when we did strict equality. So if this is what you want to achieve, the first thing you do, either you change it as a number in there, or you can go ahead and declare another variable. You can say let z or let g equal, go ahead and declare it as another variable, number inside the brackets. So before it gets to the if block, you've already changed it here to a number. So y is now a number. So here you now put z here. If I enter 18, give me what? Oh, 18. If you are 18, is this clear, please? Any questions? Any questions, please?
Yes.
All right.
In our prompt, like 111, 111.
Okay.
Why don't we declare G as a number or our Y as a number?
Yeah, we can do that. All we need to do is to wrap the whole of this prompt in this number. Like, okay, let me see. So just comment this out. You can do like this. You can do like this. And this. So this is our Y. And what we need to do is to grab the whole of this. Put it inside this number. Done the same thing. So instead of the two steps, you're now just going with one step. I can directly put Y here. Yeah, is it clear? This is what you meant, right? So you get the same result. This is what you meant, right? Instead of doing it, declaring it, and now converting to a number here, you do all in one line. Hello, Suka, can you hear me?
Yes. That's what I meant.
All right. Okay, another thing I want us to do, you see, while this was going on, I was doing you are 18. What if instead of entering this 18, I want to get it from the number that was entered? That is where your backticks comes in. That sign, that symbol I told you that is close to, what the symbol does is it embeds, anything inside of a string is treated as a string. What that symbol now does for you is to embed another value that is not a string inside the string. For instance, if I embed this in backticks, now instead of writing 18 here, and I said, whatever the user entered, I want to see it here. So one convention of doing this is using the $sign, using backticks and the $sign. So once I put the value of this Y here, it will display the value of Y. So you just say you are whatever I entered here. So if I go down and do the same thing, yeah, I do the same thing, and I say you are this course, us and adults. Okay, let's say I want to check okay, so Y is less than 18, and I want to say you are this, which is the number I will get here, because if it's less than 18, you should run this value, which means that number is less than 18. I will now say Thus, you are 18. Okay, sorry. Still put it inside the brackets. Thus, a teenager. Why here? Thus, an adult. So I'm not writing the numbers now. Whichever value number I entered will be dynamically displayed inside of this place. That is one beauty of JavaScript. If I enter 2, I get you are 2, thus a teenager. So it will run the second code as first, embed the value I entered inside it. If I enter 20, run the first one, you are 20, thus an adult. So this is how you can also embed your value inside a string. So you can do it outside. You can just say console log by 40. Just when you get the result from a variable that you want to embed in a string, this is how you do that. You do it using your back. That is why your back is comes in. So it doesn't just work as symbolizing that it can help you to wrap other values inside of a string in case you want to display them together. So that was what I wanted to point out to us. So I don't know if this is clear enough. Okay,
Yes, it's clear to me. It's clear. Thank you.
Okay, so this is what condition has done. Then we'll now have what we did here is if else. We still have else if and else. Let's go. Let's say we have 3 options that you want to give out. You have 3 options you want to give out for yes or no. Okay, after doing if the person is less than 18, you should display you are thus 18. So what if, and I say else else well, let me leave this first one and do another if else statement here. And I say so else this we are saying that if this is this run this condition, else if this is this run this condition, then the last else is the default value that will be run if none of the conditions above are fulfilled. It's the default value that will be run if none of the conditions above. So you have to put conditions in the 2 above. Okay, so this one will say if let's go with our ZJS. Okay, if let me say if time is, let's go with time now. If time is less than if time is less than 12, I want them to say it's good morning. I want this person to greet good morning. Yes. Okay. So if this is when the person say good morning, good morning. Now if time if time if time is greater than 12, time is greater than 12, say good afternoon. Okay. Now, if you look, these two else with once the time is greater than 12, it will console. Okay, let's go ahead and do it and see the result it will get. I'm guessing you already know what will happen. So let me select my time. My time is 8. Let me see. So it's saying good morning. Can I change this time to 13? It's running this first one. It's not running this one because the condition satisfies this first one. So it's not jumping to this one. So if we want this one to run, we have to now put set two conditions for line 1, 2, 7. This is where there was something I wanted to point at. Short circuit is called short circuiting. It's called short circuiting. What it does is it says if time is greater than 12 but less than another number. Say if time is greater than 12 and less than 6 and less than 18, do this. Now, that process of combining two conditions together is done with the help of logical operators like the or and the and. And in JavaScript, the or is represented with the double ampersand sign. This sign, double. What it does is, it says if time is greater than 12 and the same time is now less than 18 and the same time is less than 18, okay, go ahead and do this. So it means if our time is greater than 18, it is supposed to run this. So let's go ahead and see. We have good afternoon here. So if I change this time to 19, we're having good night. So what this and does is the and runs. If the first value is true, it will move to the next one and compare to know if it's true. So it's like saying if time is greater than 12 and the time is less than 18, do this. So we also have another option for or. We have and or. The two of them, the or works with statements like if time is greater than 12 or less than 18. If time is greater than 12 or less than 18. So I can change the statement to if time is greater than 12 or less than 18. It will still return good afternoon whenever those conditions are met. And the or is written using the double stroke. Which double stroke. This means if the time is greater than 12 or this same time is less than 18, do this. So it means if the time is greater than 18, it will run another thing. Let's see. Sorry. The time is greater than 12. It will still run this, sorry, because greater than 12, 19 is still greater than 12. So it will still run, it will still fill this and run this. I'm trying to look for the best use scenario for this or okay, let's say or time equals if time equals time is equal to 12 or less than 18. Just wanted to get the concept of how we use that operator. Okay, if it's equal to 12 or less than 18. So in this case, it is not equal to 12, it's not less than 18. So it will return good night. So this or this stands for or, while the double ampersand sign stands for and operator. We want to combine one or two conditions together. Doesn't matter, it can be several conditions. The same thing still works. So this is for and, this is and. I know in mathematics, we've seen something like this and this, then why this is for all. Why this is for all. This one is for all in JavaScript. This is for it's all, one up is and. So these are the basic operators that we've learned today. I would like us to look at them, practice them, and see how they work. So we've done loops, we've done conditionals. I would like us to go back, look at them, practice how they work, and practice using them and get familiar with them. Because everything that you'll be doing in JavaScript will still revolve around these things. The way JavaScript is learned is you first of all start learning. It's like you want to build a car. You dismantle the whole car and you pick each bolt and say, okay, what does this bolt do? Drop it aside. What does this nut do? Drop it aside. Initially, it might not make sense to you, but at the end of the day, when you start combining them together, you start seeing the beauty. Just like when we learned about the comparison operator, you might be wondering what it does, but you see how we used it here for the if statements. If we didn't know what it was returning, it would be difficult for us to grasp what it actually does. So the same way we'll be getting these things gradually and we'll move. So I want to stop here for today. So I will look at what we've done. Maybe during the week, go ahead and practice and do some practice on it. If I have some small challenges, I'll also drop on the platform so that we'll also challenge ourselves using what we've done so far. I'll also drop a few challenges, just small things for us to work with and get familiar with these things. So are there any questions? Any questions from today?
No question, sir.
About you. Hello? So any question from your end?
No question for now.
So you understand everything?
Yes, I understand so far, but when I start doing it on my own, I'll be
And
setting.
another thing also, okay, that's fine. Also, whatever we've done here, you can also do on this console. Remember, this console is just like is your display. Is where you use what you display your code for now. After now, we'll migrate into using JavaScript to now show on our DOM. When I mean DOM, embedding it in HTML, changing some things. So if you understand today's class, I'm very happy with it because these are the building blocks to whatever we are going to learn in the future. Every code you see we write, every code from React and the rest, these are the fundamentals, these are the basics. Once you grab this, trust me, you can fly to any level. All right, in the absence of any other questions, I would like to end today and wishing you all the best weekend. And what about the applications we're supposed to do for
the outreach application?